Joining us right now is Pittsburgh Steelers lover, Representative Mike Kelly from
there's just no accounting
Pennsylvania.
for taste.
Ryan Shays here, by the way, outside linebacker from Ohio State. Oh, man, as if we didn't have enough reason to hate the Steelers. They got a Buckeye in the first round.
Hey, listen, the black and gold, they got to keep getting better. They had a couple of rough years now, so we'll see.
Representative Mike Kelly is our guest. Always good to have him. And boy, so much happening in Congress this week. I want to start you on this little mini debate that's happening within the Republican caucus. I know that you're very much in favor of the Select Committee on Benghazi, but there's one issue about fundraising that's come up. Trey Gowdy yesterday said that no money should be raised on this because it would be distasteful to raise money on the death of 4 Americans. But your colleague that I know you respect quite a bit, Representative Tom Cotton of Arkansas, he took to the floor yesterday and said this.
Where was the outrage as they fundraised endlessly off the Iraq War? Where was the outrage as they viciously attacked our commanders? Where was the outrage when they said that soldiers were war criminals? Where was the outrage when they said the war was lost? Where was the outrage when they said that only high school dropouts joined the Army? Forgive me if I don't join my Democratic colleagues in sharing in their fake outrage. 4 Americans lost their lives that night in Benghazi. They deserve justice. The American people deserve the truth. One other lesson I learned in the Army is we leave no man behind, and we will not leave these 4 men behind.
Representative Mike Kelly, he's got a good point about Democrats. They were fine raising money off the Iraq War. Do you think there's something wrong if politicians want to say, hey, we are the ones who are trying to get to the truth that night at Benghazi, but you got to elect us, you got to give us money?
Well, you go back and forth in this thing all the time. I look at this and everything is the sum total of everything it's included in. Okay, now getting elected is very important because elections do have consequences. The president says it many times himself. I think the American people are understanding that too. Maybe not the kind of consequences that they thought they were going to get. I have a great deal of respect for all my colleagues on both sides of the aisle because it's a hard job. It's not an easy job. I just do believe at this point right now, it depends who's. The old saying, it depends whose bull's getting gored. You watch this, and it's okay when you're not getting hurt and the other side's getting hurt, and then when it flips the other way and you look back, it's like, oh, no, let's not go down that path. That's not right. I'm watching people in denial who were so outspoken about what's wrong, and then all of a sudden, when the spotlight gets turned the other way, it's like, no, but you can't really judge us on that. That's petty. That's nothing but politics. This is all because of an election that's coming up. Please tell me, guys, when isn't there an election coming up? So if we're going to use that excuse, then we all ought to just quit and not have elections. So let's just go back to something different.
All right, so here's my question to you. Have you been approached to be on this select committee?
Do you know what? I have not. I think I've said to the Speaker's office, to his staff, I have not bothered him because he's a pretty busy guy. So listen, if I were to have the honor, I'd be asked to sit on that, I would love to. If not, I'm fine. I just want to start to do some things that this country needs so badly, and that's to repair this. We keep talking about gaps in pay and gaps in gender and gaps in all that. There is a huge gap that keeps widening between the government and the people who are elected to represent the people and the faith and trust of the American people. This one is widening and widening and getting bigger and bigger. We have to get these things brought back together where people actually trust us to do the right thing. To me, this is just about doing the right thing. I've watched this ring around the rosy about what happened there, what happened with the IRS, what happened with Fast and Furious. You look at all these different things, and when people keep saying, listen, you guys are barking up the wrong tree. We've already spent too much time and too much money on this. And that's not the purpose.
Well, I mean, no. You're a congressman. Obviously, you have not listened to Nancy Pelosi, who believes that everything we need to know has been told. The former Secretary of State said, we know everything. This is a complete waste of time. What do you say to those folks?
Well, I say the same thing that's very obvious to everybody. Yes, we've seen a lot of material. Have we seen it all? No. And when some of these things get out to us, things that we asked for before, and now they come out very begrudgingly now. Listen, if nothing was wrong, if nothing happened, if there was nothing to worry about, then why not just turn over the information? Why not just come clear and talk about it? And being an Irish American, I heard Mr. Pelosi said maybe if there were a lot of Irish waiting in here, immigration wouldn't be such a big deal. You watch what these folks do, and it's appalling that we keep trying to divide the country instead of bringing it together. We've got huge American problems that we have to come up with American solutions, not Democrat solutions or Republican solutions, but things that we know to be true. and that we can have faith in again. The political posturing on this is beyond the pale right now.
Well, Representative Mike Kelly's our guest, Republican from Pennsylvania. You talk about how we got to bring this country together. I think there's one thing we can all unite behind, and that's a hatred of the IRS. And this week we saw one of the reasons why with the contempt charge against Lois Lerner. Yeah. I want you to tell me what's the end game here now with the IRS, because after Benghazi, the people that we talk to, they want this IRS thing hammered out, and they want it hammered out hard, and I know you are passionate about this.
Well, again, it's the same issue. If nothing happened, if it's truly innocence that took place here, then why not just come and sit down and tell us about your role? Why plead the fifth? This gets, again, beyond the pale.
But what's the end game? We've got the Justice Department isn't going to do anything about this, so now you're stuck.
Fellas, look and think. The American people now are starting to understand about how this system actually works. We can do an awful lot in Congress. We can investigate. We can expose. We have to turn it over to the Department of Justice. Isn't it incredible that you have to petition the Attorney General of the United States, the Chief Law Enforcement of the United States, to actually do their job? This idea that somehow you can just keep putting it off and it'll eventually go away. It hasn't gone away. It's gotten worse. And as I said earlier, this gap keeps widening between what the people, their faith and their trust in the government and the people they sent to represent them in getting the job done. I think people are now starting to understand, oh, wait a minute. So this is how the system works. This is the stuff we don't teach in school anymore. This is the stuff we don't talk about, and this is the reason we get hurt, because it's what you don't know that's going to kill you. And right now, we don't know an awful lot about what's going on, but we've lost the understanding of how our government works. The Department of Justice has an obligation, the same as each of us do as elected officials, to get to the bottom of these things.
Well,
I just can't understand why they just won't do it. If there's nothing there, let's make sure there's nothing there. There is a smoking gun there, and it's the old story, guys. This one doesn't pass the smell test. If it waddles like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. This is a situation that we have to get under control.
You know, as I look at these two things, Benghazi and the IRS scandal, I mean, clearly we don't have all the answers in Benghazi, and there needs to be some answers given. But the one I think that troubles me more as I think about it is the IRS scandal, because here is an example of the administration using the IRS as a political weapon against their political enemies. I mean, that smacks of Watergate.
Yeah, well, in an agency that has to be truly apolitical, they cannot have a political bent. They can't, because of what's going on right now. And you watch and you see that individual citizens were handled differently and were abused in a way that we just can't accept by an agency that's all powerful. These are people that can cut you off at the knees. They can eliminate you in the private sector. They can do things to you that nobody else can do to you. They can shut down your bank accounts. They can take away your ability to function in our society as a business or as an individual by just pulling certain levers, because they have the power to do that. You can't have people who are politically driven with an agenda to go after our individual citizens that way. We've always championed this. This is what truly makes us one of the most incredible models of government in the world has ever known. This is what makes us exceptional. And we're saying it's rotting from within, and they're using political agendas, and they're using this bias to go after people who have the rights to say these things. We've got to protect those rights.
We got to leave it there. Representative Mike Kelly of Pennsylvania, we know you're there fighting on the front lines. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week.